Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Battle of the Belts review. Battle of the Belts was from the Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina. This was a AEW special event. We had 3 matches on the card, and the show was decent. Not great or perfect by any means, but it was just a decent show. But we saw Sammy Guevara versus Dustin Rhodes for the Interim TNT Championship. The FTW Championship was on the line where Ricky Starks defended it against Matt Sydal. And in the main event, we had the AEW Women's World Championship on the line where Britt Baker ended up defending the title against Riho. Overall, Battle of the Belts was a decent show. And it flew by fast considering, it was only an hour show. But before I start the review, if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded earlier, uploaded another commercial break video for you guys. It was from WPX Channel 11 here in New York from 1991. It was during an airing of the broadcast premiere of the 1988 classic Child's Play. So if you guys haven't checked out the commercial break video, definitely go check it out. A lot of great commercials, very 90s, very nostalgic. So check out that if you guys haven't seen it. Also, SmackDown AEW Rampage review uploaded, of course, last night. So if you haven't seen that, give that review a watch. But let's jump right into the review. Battle of the Belts opened up tonight with Dustin Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. The Interim TNT Championship was on the line. And this was an enjoyable match. This was a good match between the both of them. Now, as we all know, it was originally supposed to be Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. They were supposed to have their rematch with the TNT Championship on the line. But Cody had to get pulled out of the match because, from what I've heard, it has something to do with COVID related. Maybe Cody came in contact with someone who has COVID, or maybe his wife Brandy came into contact with somebody who has COVID. Maybe both Cody and Brandy have COVID. Who knows? Well, that's what I heard. That's the main reason why they ended up pulling Cody out of the match with Guevara, because it has to do with COVID. But when the match started, we had Dustin and Sammy Guevara. They ended up showing respect to each other, shaking hands. We had Guevara end up doing a side headlock on Dustin. There's a point where Dustin ended up having to take a breather. Sammy Guevara was lying down on the top turnbuckle. He was taunting Dustin. I like when Sammy Guevara does that. He ends up going on the top turnbuckle, just staying there, just taunting at his opponents. So we had Guevara end up going off the ropes. He ended up doing a leapfrog to Dustin. Dustin ended up taking out Sammy Guevara. So we had Dustin and Guevara out on the floor. Guevara ended up pointing the finger gun at Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson came back. He ended up flipping Sammy Guevara off. He ended up giving Sammy Guevara the middle finger. So we had both Guevara and Dustin. They were trading chops at each other. Dustin ended up spiking Sammy's knee into the steps. And then Dustin came back and spiked Guevara with a pile driver on the floor. So Guevara ended up getting back up. He ended up sliding in to break up the count because Aubrey Edwards, was counting. So we had Dustin end up going for the cover, and Guevara ended up kicking out. Sammy ended up rolling back out to the floor. So, as Battle of the Belts came back from the commercial, Dustin ended up hitting a scoop power slam on Guevara. He went for the cover. Guevara kicked out at 2. Dustin then took Guevara into the corner, delivered some chops and some punches. He ended up whipping Guevara across to another corner. And we had Dustin doing a monkey flip, but it got blocked by Guevara. And Guevara ended up hitting a lariat, which sent Dustin out to the floor. Guevara went up to the top. He ended up taking Dustin out with a springboard front flip seated senton, which looked awesome. So Guevara ended up putting Dustin in the corner. He delivered an enziguri, and Guevara ended up doing the jump. He was looking to go for the ace crusher, but Rhodes ended up reversing that into the crossroads, and he followed it up with a Yoshitonic. So he ended up going for the cover. Guevara kicked out. So Guevara ended up getting Dustin with the Argentine backbreaker and the GTH. And then Fuego del Sol ends up pulling the table out from under the ring. Fuego del Sol ended up setting up the table on the floor. And Fuego was up on the apron. Guevara ended up delivering the pump kick and also the ace crusher, which got blocked by Dustin. Dustin ended up setting Guevara up, and Dustin ended up delivering a flip pile driver off the apron through the table to Guevara. So we had Dustin ended up bringing Guevara back into the ring. Dustin went for the cover. Sammy ended up kicking out, which that was crazy. So Dustin ended up doing another crossroads. We had Guevara end up doing a sunset flip on Dustin. He went for the cover. And there you go. Sammy Guevara ended up winning the match. And he is the interim TNT champion. After the match, post-match, Daniel Garcia ended up coming in the ring. He got in Guevara's face. Daniel Garcia ended up slapping Guevara. Guevara slapped him back. And we had a brawl between Daniel Garcia and Guevara. So the referees end up coming in to break them up. And pretty much that was basically that. But overall, this was an enjoyable match between Dustin and Guevara. Guevara, the interim TNT champion. So that's pretty cool. So then we had Sammy Guevara. He was being interviewed backstage. Guevara ended up saying that he doesn't give a shit about Daniel Garcia, but he'll put the interim TNT championship on the line against him on Dynamite this week, this Wednesday. So there you go. It's going to be Daniel Garcia versus Sammy Guevara this Wednesday on Dynamite, and the interim TNT championship is going to be on the line. So there you go. And then we had Matt Sydal versus Ricky Starks. FTW Championship on the line. This was an okay matchup here. We had Matt Sydal start off the match. He ended up doing the Frankensteiner to Ricky Starks. So he ended up catching the boot from Starks, did a back heel trip and a corkscrew moonsault. So later on, Starks ended up getting off a slam on Matt Sydal. Both guys were out on the floor. Hobbs ended up interfering in the match. He ended up keeping Matt Sydal away from Ricky Starks. As Battle of the Belts came back from the commercial, Starks delivered a shoulder block to Matt Sydal. He charged a back elbow and a Uranagi. And both guys were trading strikes at each other. Sydal ended up snapping off a Frankensteiner and a Michinoku driver. He ended up spiking Starks on his head. So Sydal ended up going for the cover, and Starks ended up kicking out. Sydal ended up delivering a pump handle roll through. Starks ended up kicking out. Starks got back up. He wanted to go for a Dr. Bomb, but Seito ended up slipping out of the ring. Sydal then delivered a knee and the crucifix, which got blocked. And Sydal delivered a roundhouse kick, which connected to Ricky Starks. So Starks ended up getting a foot on the ropes because Sydal delivered the Meteor off the top onto Starks. He ended up going for the cover, and Starks got his foot on the ropes. So we had the end of the match. Starks ended up spearing Sydal, and he went for the Roshambo. I think that's how you pronounce the finisher from Ricky Starks. So Ricky Starks ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Starks ended up winning the match, retaining the FTW Championship. I mean, I knew that Starks was going to retain the title. Post-match, Starks ended up attacking Matt Sydal still, and Sydal was trying to fight Starks off with some up kicks. Hobbs ended up getting involved, and he ended up booting Sydal. He was holding down Sydal so Starks could continue the beatdown, and Lee Moriarty ended up coming out. Lee Moriarty ended up trying to save Matt Sydal, and just Hobbs ended up laying out Moriarty with a clothesline, which turned Moriarty inside out. So Dante Martin ended up coming out. He got face-to-face with Hobbs. This is a little preview of what we're going to see in their match Wednesday on Dynamite. So we had Dante Martin end up delivering right hands to Hobbs, which didn't do nothing to Hobbs. Hobbs ended up shoving Martin. Martin ended up delivering an enziguri to Hobbs and a drop kick, which sent Hobbs out of the ring. And that was that. But little preview there of what we're going to see on Dynamite this Wednesday in that match between Hobbs and Dante Martin. Should be a good matchup there. So, but overall, okay match between Sydal and Ricky Starks. And then we had the main event. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Riho. AEW Women's World Championship on the line. Before that, we had a video package showcasing Britt Baker and Riho. It was a pretty good video package there. But the match was okay, in my opinion. So, Baker ended up coming out along with Rebel and Jamie Hayter, of course. And then Riho ended up making her way out. Rebel and Jamie Hayter were already doing interference, so Britt Baker could take control of the match. Britt Baker ended up punching Riho, ended up doing a side headlock on Riho. So Riho ended up coming back. She delivered a series of drop kicks to Baker, which sent Britt Baker out to the floor. Riho ended up going up to the top, and she ended up taking Rebel out with a crossbody. And as she turned to Jamie Hayter, she ended up getting in Hayter's face. And Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, they set up a table out on the floor. Riho got up. She took out Jamie Hayter with a drop kick. She went back inside the ring as Britt Baker was in there. And Riho delivered a missile drop kick to Baker. Later on, Baker ended up dropping Riho with a backbreaker in the corner. She ended up booting Riho as Battle of the Belts went to commercial. As Battle of the Belts came back from the commercial, Riho delivered a double stomp to Baker. She ended up going for the cover. Baker ended up kicking out. And we had Riho end up snapping off Tierra on Britt Baker to put her in the corner. Riho was up top, and Rebel ended up pulling Britt Baker out of the way, so more interference from Rebel. There was a point where Rebel was trying to protect Baker, and Riho came off the top, and she delivered the double stomp onto Rebel's back. And we had Britt Baker end up reversing a dragon suplex into a lockjaw. She couldn't get the crossface locked in on Riho because Riho ended up getting to the ropes. And there was a point where Riho delivered a slap, a huge slap, to Britt Baker. So both Baker and Riho were delivering pinfall attempts. Baker ended up slipping out of the pinfall attempt, and she went off the ropes. She ended up hitting the stomp on Riho. She ended up going for the cover. Riho ended up kicking out. And we still had more interference from Rebel and Jamie Hayter. And at this point, referee Paul Turner, he had enough of the interference from the both of them. So Paul Turner ended up throwing out Rebel and Jamie Hayter. And Riho delivered a crucifix driver and a bridge of Northern Lights suplex to Britt Baker, which Baker ended up kicking out. Britt Baker ended up doing a Russian leg sweep attempt, and she ended up delivering another stomp to Riho. She ended up going for the cover, and Riho ended up kicking out. Riho will not, stay down at this point. Britt Baker ended up getting the glove. She ended up putting it on, and Baker was able to get the lockjaw in on Riho, and Riho tapped out. So there you go. Britt Baker ended up winning the match, retaining the AEW Women's World Championship. Overall, it was an okay match. Not great or perfect by any means. I thought both Britt Baker and Riho did pretty well here. Both women gave it all they got in the match. It was, back and forth. So, but it was an okay match. Got some enjoyment out of it. But overall, that was Battle of the Belts. I thought it was a decent show tonight. Like I said, not great or perfect by any means. It was enjoyable. Wasn't boring. When are these AEW shows boring? They're never boring. I mean, they have their shows where it's not, it's not perfect or great one week, and that's a good show the next week. But mostly, AEW shows have been very enjoyable and very good at this point. So, but aside from one point, their shows are okay or yeah. But Battle of the Belts was a decent show. It was a good, fast-paced, hour of professional wrestling. So, but anyways, that's it for my review of Battle of the Belts. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Be sure to check out the commercial break video if you guys haven't seen it. Also, SmackDown AEW Rampage review. So check out those two videos if you guys haven't seen it. And until next video, I'll see you all later.